So that was no bundle of fun. 3 days waiting for this adapter to arrive so I can fit my existing lenses to the new camera. However, I've taken the time to look at the camera, to set up some personal settings that I know I'll be needing in the future. And my attention now basically is to get the lenses on and start playing and start learning how to use the new autofocus, and just to see how good this camera is. That was going to be today, but over the last 3 days we've had beautiful sunshine, we've had lovely light, and today, as I opened the package, the clouds rolled in, the temperature went down to 13 degrees, and it's bucketing with rain, and it's going to be for the rest of the day. So it's going to be tomorrow before I can actually get out and start actually photographing, to give a first impression of how good I think this camera is. So I'll get in tomorrow morning, hopefully into the garden. I've got a setup there for my birds with a woodland feed station. And it's a perfect opportunity for me to test out the focusing and any other features that are new to me on this camera. So we'll see you tomorrow morning. Okay, so here we are, next day. Weather's improved dramatically. I'll be able to get into the garden, and I'm about to test drive my new camera. The little piece of equipment arrived here with the adapter ring, which I can now put onto my camera, which will allow me to put all my gear onto this new camera. We're ready to go. Going to be doing some photography in a few minutes in the garden, doing some wildlife stuff with my big lens. I'm going to take you along for the ride to show you what I get on my first ever attempts at using this brand new camera. Just want to run through a few of the specifications first, just the basic specification. I'm not going to go into high-techy stuff. There's loads of that online, and to be honest, kind of as much as I'm very familiar with the camera and the settings and the tech, I really don't like wading through super tech kind of videos. So I'm just going to give you the basics of what you get for your money. Obviously it's Canon EOS R3. The weight is the first thing you're going to notice if you're using the 1DX Mark III. It's much less weight. It's only 822 grams. It has a stacked sensor. Now I don't know what that is. But at the end of the day, I look at the information, and what it basically says is it's great, it's good, top of the line. It'll do a great job. That's all I'm interested in. I don't want to know all the kind of guff about how good it is technically. You can do up to 195 frames per second on a high-speed burst, but you have to set that up specifically in the camera itself. Can't imagine anybody wanting to do that type of speed, but it's there if you want it. The maximum ISO is 102,400, but I believe you can in fact set it up to do double that under certain circumstances. 24 megabits per second resolution. There's up to 8 stops of image stabilization, which is brilliant news for anybody who's using long lenses or wants to do video that isn't wobbling all over the place. That is super duper. That's a kind of reason I bought the thing in the first place. It's got something called eye focus control. You can teach the camera to actually follow your eye in the viewfinder, and you can then literally look at what you want to focus, and it will focus following your eyesight. I don't think that's going to work with wildlife, mainly because when I'm kind of trying to focus on my wildlife, my eye is dotting all over the place, not just to the subject, but I'm looking for other things coming into the image, other things happening in the background. So my eye will be all over the place. So I'll try it, but I don't think I'll use it. What it does have, which is brilliant, is subject tracking. And you can actually set that to cars, vehicles I should say, humans and animals, and it will actually hunt out the eye of the subject, and it'll track the eye as it's walking along or as it's moving. And from the examples I've seen online, that is an incredible feature that can really up the rate of successful photos. Electronic viewfinder, I mean, so what you see through the lens is exactly what you're going to see on the viewfinder there. Now that's really good, especially for weddings. If I go into a church or a dark area, I can see in real time what the camera is going to give us. I'll be able to then make an adjustment using this adjustment ring, which I was telling you about earlier on, is that this adjustment ring, it'll allow me to adjust my ISO so that what I see in the back of the camera is exactly what I'm going to get in the photo itself. There's no kind of testing it out and trying different settings to try and get the perfect exposure. One thing I really like as well, it's got built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. that's going to be great. No adapter that you have to stick on the top of the camera, huge expense to actually download when you get home. So I'll be able to take this when I get home from a shoot. I'll be able to sit down, I'll be able to transfer electronically straight by Wi-Fi to the servers. I have about 12 terabytes of memory at home, which I can then automatically send up there without plugging cables in and without the hassle of transferring to one and then to the other. That's going to be a great bonus. So I mean, it's got all the features that I'm looking for and more. What I really need to know now is, does it take great photographs? So I'm going to wander over. I've got a setup here that I made some time ago. It's a woodland kind of feed station. I do a video about that already, showing you how to do one of these free of charge. I'll put a link down below if you want to have a look at that and see how you could have something similar to bring the birds in and get better photography by using one of these feed stations. Absolutely free of charge. So check that out and you could be doing something like this yourself. So I'm going to put this on a tripod, I'm going to put the big lens on, and I'm going to see what we can do. So what I'm going to be doing is shooting from a makeshift hide that I've made. I've got a garden swing here and I've got some cheap netting here which I've been able to put a poker hole through, and normally the birds are quite happy once they've settled for a little while for us to continue shooting. So I'm going to shoot from there down over into the garden and see what we get on the branches of the feeding table that I've had set up for some time in the garden. So here we are. It's actually a day after I did the videoing yesterday, because as soon as I finished showing you the setup, the clouds rolled in and it rained for the rest of the day. So I'm on day 4 now and hoping very much that I can actually get to take some photographs. The weather's good for a while, so I've come out in the garden, I've got the setup ready, and what I want to do is try out my very first images on this particular camera, and I want to share that with you today. I haven't had time to study it to set the settings up perfectly, but I've set the settings to what I would normally use on my 1DX Mark III to see how it compares, and I'm sure I can do a lot of improvement. And my next video actually is going to be me actually setting up a perfect setting for this, having taken advice on the internet, and I'll show you exactly what settings I'm going to have on my camera before I take it out in the field. So I'm hoping for some half decent pictures today. Unfortunately, I haven't got the variety of birds. When we came to this house 5 years ago, we got a really diverse number of birds in the garden. We had all kinds of different types of birds, from the blue tits, cold tits, chaffinch, greenfinch, goldfinch. But now the sparrows have taken over. It's Sparrow City here. The village is called Manfield. We call them the Manfield Mafia. And the reason is they've come in numbers, and by sheer volume they've chased away most of these other breeds, which is a great shame. So it doesn't give me much variety to show you. However, we'll get what we get. The main thing today is for me to see how good these images are, and particularly how good the focusing is. I've been checking online at the tracking, the eye tracking, and it looks amazing. And I'll let you know when I'm finished this session. I'll show you some photographs from today, and you can make your own mind up as to whether this is going to be worth the investment. I certainly hope so. So here we go, the very first shot taken with the camera. What a little beauty. A rather bedraggled great tit, but smashing image. And my first flight shot. Had to be a sparrow, hadn't it? But it's nicely captured, nicely sharp, and a good effort. I took a ground shot as well. This is nice, just noticed a little bug in its beak. It's a charming little picture. Now, just to prove it wasn't a fluke, this is the second flight shot I took of a sparrow in action. I took this one just as there was a little bit of competition ramping up, and there was one or two flying around trying to get onto a perch. It's always nice to get the birds perched up on a branch waiting to come down onto the table. Great opportunity. These little critters are eating me out of house and home. They can clear that entire feeder in less than half a day. Another ground shot. I just love the colours on this and the clarity of the bird. It's a super shot. Now this to me was the shot of the day. I love the sharp underbelly and the slight blurriness on the wings. Well, there you go. As you can imagine, I'm absolutely delighted with those results. Remember that this camera hasn't been set up yet. I've simply turned it on, to put a few settings together similar to what I had on my 1DX, and basically shot away to see what I could get. The focusing was incredible, the eye recognition amazing. I got shots there that I've never got with my other camera. I've never hit that level of accuracy with my focusing. So I'm just wondering what's going to happen when I get it set up properly and get the full potential of this camera unleashed. And this is what I'm going to share with you in my next video. I'm going to do the research. I'm going to set my camera up to make sure that it gets the very best opportunity to take the very best photographs. And that would be in the form of a video coming soon. I'll share with you exactly the settings that I put on the camera, page by page, menu by menu, to show you how I set the camera to get the best photography. And I'm telling you now, I just can't wait. See you next time on the Better Photography channel.